Hey guys, good morning. It is the weekend and I just woke up. Going to do a little morning shave. Cella Gillette Silver Blue with not too many uses on it. This is the Slant head from Maggard razors. Looking forward to trying that out. I'm not an experienced slant user. I don't really think there's much to it to be different, but I also don't know what to expect in terms of feel. And the C5 Torga and with the boar bristles, premium, and this is from Semogue. It has started acting real nice. It was pretty backboney at first, while the tips being comfortable, the backbone didn't really allow too much splay, but the last several uses have changed, as it's matured. It's still quite young, maybe 23 uses or so, and so it definitely has a long way to go. I'm really looking forward to the kind of brush it's going to turn into, because it's already on the way there, and I'm really happy about that. We've got some Dunshire balm from Stirling to finish everything off with, and so let's put the blade in the razor. Now there are a few slants out there. I'll show you what's up with this one. It twists the blade. Torsion, I believe, might be the right word, and so you can look at it from each end. As I hold it vertically, you can see how this corner is down lower, and if I turn it around, that same corner, and so the opposite corners are down lower than the other corners. And because it's symmetrical like that, you don't have to remember which way the top cap goes. It can flip around either way. And there it's pretty basic, pretty simple. And if you, because of videos and things like that, if you don't look at it exactly the right way, you might even on a video mistake it for a normal top cap here, but it definitely is twisted. Now, what jumps out at me right away for this base plate is the thinness here of this center bar. There's not very much support close to the blade. This may actually be the base plate that supports from the bottom of the blade the farthest end of any razor that I own. And that usually indicates that a razor is going to be very vocal, kind of scrapey feeling sometimes, and not as smooth and consistent as those like the Carve and Wolfman and Fatip that clamp down really well. Well, it strikes me that perhaps it might get away with such a narrow area here because it is twisting the blade a little bit. That may offer some rigidity. So I'm interested to see if that's true or not. So it's pretty simple. I'm sure this is a slant plate that is not exclusive to Maggard. The V3 is, and the V3A and the V3M are all purchased from some kind of, Chinese manufacturer or whatever. There are clones, and they are not stainless steel. They're Zamac, they're plated, and so they're not going to last forever. If you take care of the threading on this top cap here, however, it is likely that it'll last many, many years. Keep that dry, because the plating on that will eventually wear down, and then the Zamac will be exposed. However, with Maggards, they're not cheating you, because you're only paying about $6 or $8 for the head. And so it was at a great price on Black Friday, so I picked up. This is a West Coast shaving handle. I thought I'd try out to see how well it did because of these radiator style rotation rings style here. I wonder if it's going to get slippery as we work, and so I'm curious about that. Let's get that silver blue out. It is a blade that works well for me in many razors, and it looks like it's the 7th shave of this one. And let's just see, like a normal non-slant razor, we will just put it over the 3 posts there, drop this in place, and we'll check for alignment just in case this Just look for evenness. Oh, well, it's actually difficult to align because the end of the razor covers the tabs. It does not look like it's an exact, yeah, it's got more exposure here than over here. I'm going to pause you while I maybe carefully adjust that, maybe use my fingernail or something. It took about 40 seconds and to a minute, and it is now, looks like it's right. Because of the twisting of the blade, I really had to unscrew it a lot more than you might normally for a regular style razor. And then I did have to push it with my fingernail. Like I said, no exposed blade tabs. So it is one you'll need to monitor and check and make sure, at least if it's like the one I have. All right, we've let the bore soak for a few minutes, and so that's good. He needs that to soften those bristles. And then this is a tub of Cella that I've had since 2017, and as you can see, I haven't used it a whole lot compared to all the shaves I've had in that time. I've just got so many soaps. It has discolored a little bit. It used to be a very nice kind of bright cream white color, but it still smells nice. It doesn't smell quite as good as it did at first, but it still smells nice and it performs just fine. Cella is one to be careful of, and if you get that big brick, either use one of those vacuum machines to make yourself little small chunks and seal them up, or store it in your fridge or something like that, because it's such a large quantity of soap that you're not going to use it. You're not going to go through it as quickly, and especially if you leave it unsealed around or not sealed up very well, especially in a warm climate, it'll probably go bad on you. I've been seeing a lot of reports about that. So be careful how you store your Cella, especially if you get that large brick, the 1 kilogram brick. If I have a big brush, I have started to do a little spooning and scraping because this little tub is kind of on the small side. All right, let me get my face wet. Maybe 23, 24 hours of growth, something like that. I mean, maybe even 22. Can't remember when I shaved. Hard water is what we're using today. This brush does not hold a lot of water. It does not take too long to shake it out and just render it lightly wet. Let's do a 20-second load, 45. Sounds good. Let's see if 20 seconds will be good enough. So we're going to the 05 mark. Got enough water to start that froth going. And there we go. Let's use some of that side froth. As you can see, I get a little awkward when I'm rubbing them on that side of the neck because my elbow doesn't quite bend in as much because of an accident years ago. All right, we're just going to rinse now. And when I said rinse, I meant the tub there, the sides of the tub. Cella is an old Italian maker since 1899. Speaking of Italian makers, I just heard, I believe it was just yesterday, as we start to work this, that Fine Accoutrements is going to be using an Italian maker to make their soaps, their new Crope style soaps, due to the factory shutting down that was making their classic hard pucks. And of course I'm disappointed about that if you're a regular watcher of my channel. Okay, this is kind of what the lather that generates right away. Let's start adding some water now that we've got that kind of consistent. Now, if he's going to have his soap made by Italians, it's probably not Cella. But you know who it might be? It might be TFS. They are an Italian maker. Don't know if the public will be privy to who makes the soap. He did say he's going to bring back at least in stages, all the different fragrances that he does have in his current classic puck lineup, so that's good. If it is TFS, I'll be a little disappointed because I have used TFS and it's not as good as the fine hard pucks. It's just not, but very few are, really, to be honest with you, in terms of slickness and performance. There we go. This is what it looks like after 1 teaspoon of soap added. Cella is not the most amazing lather in the world. It's not as good as Fine or Stirling or somebody like that. But I just like it for the scent. I like it for the connection with shaving history. I like it for the, and it's a reasonable enough performer. It's a good soap. It's just that there are a lot of really great lathers out there. So in terms of performance, you may not necessarily want to steer towards Cella. That's after 2 teaspoons. I wonder if I want to maybe run it a little lighter than I usually do. Let's put in half a teaspoon here. But I kind of expected, when he said he was going to be switching to a crope style fine accoutrements, you know, I kind of figured that he was going to end up with a soap that just wasn't as good as the classic pucks. It would just be hard to do that. But who knows? May not be TFS. Not that TFS is bad. I've got a couple of TFS soaps and I enjoy their performance and their scent. We've got some elasticity there. It's kind of on the thick side, but I think that's a good place. Why don't we try that out? All right, give my face a rinse. And here we go. Yeah, see, that's soft. Man, that's nice. This definitely has migrated from being a chubby little thing that wasn't all that easy to splay. And I'm not really splaying it a whole lot. It's just that maybe the top half of the tips are allowing me to kind of have a bit of a splay, and it's comfortable. It's got a good enough coverage. It feels good. It's definitely not one that you want to go to for kind of soft shaving luxury. But you know who you are if you like one with a little bit more scrub, a little bit more backbone. Then this will fit your bill. And this is kind of opposite compared to many of the Semogue brushes. So I'm glad they brought this one out. You know, Zenith has some scrubby options, and other people like Omega, they do too. I think it's going to be a nice, enjoyable brush. Its opposite might be the Semogue Owners Club, which is a huge bloom brush, boar brush. Nice, soft, comfortable, you know, nice tips and stuff like this one will have as well. But the bloom is just huge, and there's more flex with the bristles, and it's really easy to keep in a huge, big splay. All right, guys, let's see what this Slant has to offer. Now, of course, when you're lining up certain areas with other hair features, you'll need to take into account that you're using something on a tilt. And so pay a little attention to that. I'll need to find the angle. Wow. That is doing very well. And it does seem to be quite quiet. There's got to be that blade torsioning. that we were talking about. But this is not feeling very aggressive at all. So if you're expecting a slant to feel that way, this one, at least on my skin today, does not feel that way at all. That's really nice. I kind of don't want to like a slant, but this might be changing my mind. That was terrific. Now, since I'm not a slant veteran, I've tried that Merkur slant. It did not do very well. I didn't like it, and I sold it. Definitely didn't look nearly as well constructed as this one. But I don't know if such a smooth feel with good cutting is a trademark of the slants, or if some of them have a more aggressive feel. I'm glad I stopped adding water. I did not need to take this one this far. This is a fast razor. Very good glide here, thanks to the Cella. And I mean, I took off so much stubble using that first pass that I don't even really hear the hairs being cut. I am adjusting my razor angle as we go. Holy cow. On the second pass, I just went against the grain in my tricky spot right there. I can't do that with about any other razor. Wow. My skin, as I did that first rinse after that first pass, felt no stubble. It's like it took it all. This is a very efficient razor while being so comfortable. Wow. And it's $8. Guys, in 2 passes, I have been shaved closer than most other razors get me in 3 passes. This is, in terms of performance, this is an amazing, well-designed razor head. No blade chatter, probably because of that twisting. It added more stability. Very efficient, close-cutting razor, but it did it comfortably, consistently, and it didn't bother when I went even against the, not exactly against the grain, but probably 90%, almost fully against the grain in an area that normally gives me a lot of issues when I do that. I'm talking cuts, I'm talking irritation for sure. Wow. So it's just a 2-pass shave, guys, which is good because that amount of Cella, since I put a little bit too much water, it was going to give me another pass of lather, but I was starting to get close. So Cella is not really strong enough to interfere with any aftershave, at least with the concentration that I use Cella. This is hilarious that this may be one of the closest, this may be the closest shave I've had in a very long time. So I'm really glad I tried it. I believe my friend HD Shaves also took advantage of this particular item in the Maggards Black Friday sale. So I look forward to seeing if he has a similar good report. Wow, and this handle did great. It did not slip around in my hands. So yeah, you do have to check for proper blade alignment. You may need to make an adjustment, but wow, I think it did require a little bit more open angle than I normally need to use, but I intuitively kind of picked up on that, and I would feel myself shaving and it wouldn't catch anything, and so I'd open it up just a little bit and it would. So that may be a slight change from with some of you guys, but one worth trying. I mean, wow. Wow. Oh, let's put away my gear. That was amazing. Just kind of cleaned up my gear, and yeah, the Cella scent doesn't stick around for long. It's not super heavy, but it does have just enough of that marzipan, cherry, almond type scent that that you have it in a light cloud around you as you're working during the shave. So it does kind of evoke those shaving memories that I have from a few years ago starting out. And that has started to become part of a connection with shaving history for me. And so I do enjoy it, and I think it'll always be a part of my rotation. What I'm curious about is to use some of that big old kilogram chunk that I have and see if it performs in a different way than the one tub that I purchased. I don't know if the formulas are different. I need to check that out and see. But wow shave today in terms of the performance of the razor, and the Gillette Silver Blue, of course, as you can imagine, was a great match for this razor for me. And the Cella did great, very slick, and the brush was enjoyable. Nice, easy splay for part of the bristles, and the tips are very soft, and so it's going to get softer as the days go on, as the uses go on. But it's even great right now if it never changes to me. All right, guys. Well, there we go. I hope there's some good stuff in this video for you to help you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care.